up, and it's time for a Windy Watch. Brian Windhorst, start us off with the big news from last night out of Phoenix.
Yeah, Devin Booker signs a 2-year extension worth more than $140 million. Now, they've been building towards this for months. The Suns really decided they were going to do this a while ago. It's sort of independent of their other business. And they've been involving Booker in their decision-making this offseason, including their coaching search and their decision to trade Kevin Durant. It wasn't like Booker had sign-off, but he was participating in that process, which led to this, which will keep him under contract through 2030.
All right, well, what about Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets? What's going on with them?
No deal there, Graz. So the Nuggets offered Jokic a 2-year contract extension. Now, he's got 3 years left on his deal, 2 of which are guaranteed. He can opt out of the 3rd. He passed on this deal. Now, this wasn't a stunner because if he waits until next summer, he can add an additional year and a total of $77 million to the guarantee. So even the Nuggets owner, Josh Kroenke, said he expected Jokic to turn it down. That said, never great when your franchise player says no to an extension.
Not great. Tim MacMahon, what did you make of this development in Denver?
Yeah, howdy, Dan. I looked at this and said, you know what? I think that Nikola Jokic is good at math and that he likes money. As Wendy said, there's $77 million that he can add on to the deal, that extra year. Now, again, though, it's not preferable not to have your franchise player locked up long term, and there certainly are other teams that are going to be lined up, positioning themselves for the slim chance, the heave that Joker likes to take always from the backcourt, that Joker might be available in that summer of 27. One of those teams, obviously, is the Los Angeles Lakers, who employs his buddy Luka Doncic, will have cap space in 27, and managed to get Wilt and Kareem and Shaq. So, you know, why wouldn't they think they can get Nikola Jokic while he's still the best big man in the league?
Boy, that's fun. We'll keep an eye on that, obviously, over the next, couple of years. But in the meantime, Windy, get up, show rules do dictate that I ask you about LeBron James and the Lakers. What's going on there?
There is no update, Dan.
Okay.
LeBron is continuing to watch, but he is still under contract for $53 million, which makes, no matter what anything is said, both verbally or non-verbally, his likelihood of remaining a Laker. I can't emphasize what I'm about to say enough. Regardless of who they sign at center, regardless of what LeBron does with his option, regardless of any backup signings they make, the number one most important thing for the Lakers this offseason is getting Luka Doncic into a contract extension, which they can do after August 2nd. And I'm going to sound this warning now. He's probably not going to sign August 2nd. He's going to be playing with the Slovenian national team until mid-September, and he may not entertain that even issue until he comes back to the U.S. at that time. So it could be a long wait, but make no mistake, this offseason is not about LeBron for the Lakers. It is about Luka.
Tim, what do you make of what's going on in L.A.?
Yeah, look, LeBron and the Lakers are in this weird limbo that I would love to be in, a $53 million limbo. All you have to do is be one of the best players of all time near the end of his career with a co-star that they're trying to, reset everything around and build around long term. But, the question I hear about LeBron most often around the league is he trying to bully his way to a buyout from the Lakers? And that's always quickly followed by, there's no way the Lakers could ever let that happen, right? But my guess is that he won't exactly be thrilled, but he will be there for training camp, and he will be in a Lakers uniform this season.
Yeah. I have one more for you, Tim. Cooper Flagg making his NBA Summer League debut tonight against Bronny James and the Lakers. Obviously, top draft pick. High hopes there. According to Vivid Seats, average ticket prices are $223, cheapest at $85, courtside $3,000. So people are excited. Tim, is it fair to expect Cooper Flagg to be a star right away?
It's certainly not fair to pay $3,000 to watch the highest level of AAU basketball, which is what Summer League is. A star eventually, yes, that's absolutely fair. Immediately, that's asking an awful lot out of an 18-year-old. The best rookie in the class, I think, that's fair to expect, but an 18-year-old to impact winning like a superstar does, that's putting a ton of pressure on this kid.
All right, well, much more NBA as we roll along here. The NFL is just kind of cooked. Brian Windhorst, it's time for a Windy Watch. What's going on in Phoenix?
Well, this is some good news for the Suns. They are locking Devin Booker into a 2-year contract extension at about $145 million. That's right. It'll be the largest contract extension in average annual salary in NBA history, nudging out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's that he signed last week. Now, I just want to point something out. This new contract is for starting 3 years from now. In 2029 and in 2030, $70 million will be somewhat routine for top players in the NBA, just to get you past your shock value.
Yeah, that's good news for players in the NBA. What about Denver? What's going on with Jokic and the Nuggets?
This did not get done. So Jokic was offered a 3-year contract extension by the Nuggets. He turned it down. This is not a stunner to the Nuggets. Their owner, Josh Kroenke, said a couple of weeks ago that they would offer it and he would expect him to turn it down. The reason he turned it down is because if he waits until next year, he can lock in an additional year and an additional $77 million. But it's never great news when your franchise player says no to an extension.
Tim MacMahon, what do you think about what's going on in Denver? Could we be looking at Jokic on a different team at some point?
I mean, listen, you never say never, and I know people are going to, the Photoshop folks are going to have him in a Lakers uniform, maybe a Heat uniform. We can talk Clippers, so on and so forth. The simple fact of the matter, though, is I don't believe that Nikola Jokic is looking around and considering other possibilities. This is a pure financial play. As Wendy said, there's 77 million reasons for him not to sign this extension right now.
That is an awful lot of reasons, and that makes an awful lot of sense. Wendy, one more. What updates do you have for us on LeBron and the Lakers?
None. There is none.
Right.
There is no communication really between the Lakers and LeBron. He has picked up his option. The Lakers are expecting to see him in the fall. LeBron and his camp are still watching the Lakers off season. But I can't emphasize this enough, Dan. The Lakers' primary objective this offseason is not LeBron. It is Luka Doncic. He can sign a contract extension of up to 4 years starting on August 2nd, although I suspect his decision will come much later than that. That is their primary thing. LeBron is now being treated as a 1-year player in the Lakers, for better or worse.
Tim, is this it? Like this last year for LeBron on the Lakers?
I mean, it feels like the last dance. I don't know when we'll hear from LeBron next. If it's not until media day, there will be a lot of ears tuned into that. It's as awkward of a limbo situation as we've seen maybe since the last dance with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. You just don't see a legend like this put on the back burner by a franchise. But it makes sense considering he's in his 40s. Luka Doncic is just entering his prime, and the Lakers have to figure out how to build a contender around Luka, and LeBron is very unlikely to be a part of that.
They have to figure out how to build a long-term contender around Luka. But LeBron, as we know from every show we did last week, is interested in trying to compete for a championship before he is done. Have they done enough, Tim, to build a contender around Luka and LeBron for this year?
No.
All right.
I mean, a play-in contender, sure. But no, they're not a top team in the Western Conference. They're not a threat to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They were a 3 seed last year. I'm not saying they're going to be a bad team, but we're not putting the Lakers in the conversation of contenders after they got smoked in 5 games in the first round and haven't, DeAndre Ayton, okay, fine. They haven't made major upgrades on this roster this summer.
All right. Meanwhile, this is new. Earlier this morning, Giannis Antetokounmpo was doing a live stream, and he was asked about Giannis trying to help out the show. He was asked about potentially playing in New York. Listen to what he had to say.
LA, the tax is bad. New York, tax is bad.
Yeah.
Hell no.
A lot of people have tried to convince me to go and play there and stuff.
Oh, no.
No.
So you staying in Milwaukee?
Probably. We'll see.
Wendy, something or nothing?
For first of all, congrats to that individual who was with him. I'm sorry I don't know who it was. I couldn't see real well. For asking the question that a lot of us want to know, okay? And so, yeah. But the thing about it is that he didn't give a definitive answer, and I'm certainly not going to analyze something he said seaside in Greece. But what I will say is the "we'll see," That is essentially what there's about 5 or 6 NBA teams banking on. The we'll see. And I know it sounds trivial, but for years, Giannis was completely locked in. Him saying we'll see backs up what Shams has been saying this entire summer, which is that he might be more open-minded than he was in the past. And I would say the same thing. Probably Milwaukee, but we'll see. And now I can quote Giannis on that. Thank you very much.
Right, that gives us license to talk about this. He was asked, "You're staying in Milwaukee?" If he had said yes, then we don't talk about it. Tim, he said, "We'll see." What do you make of it?
Well, Wendy, that was speed. He's a famous, I think, streamer. I mean, come on, you got to know these things. We'll see. Giannis has been in we'll see mode for years. He was in we'll see mode, and then they went out and got Drew Holiday, and then he signed his extension. He got back in we'll see mode. They went out. They got Damian Lillard. He signed an extension. He's in we'll see mode right now. Miles Turner's not getting a long-term commitment out of Giannis. And listen, if taxes are the concern, I think there's a team in South Florida that has no state income taxes. There's some teams in Texas with no state income taxes. But there will be plenty of teams lining up and positioning themselves to pounce if Giannis finally, eventually decides it's time for him to go to greener pastures.
All right, we'll definitely keep an eye on that. We'll see.
NBA